Jade, it is so great to see you, finally face to face, because of course we follow each other on social media. We see what's been going on. You have something that is, I think, extremely important, not just for Toronto, but for across Canada, for families, for entertainment, for bringing people together and enjoying life in, I would say, one of the most traditional ways. But before we go into that, though, I have to ask, how are you doing and how's the family been holding up for this year and a half of tough times?
Hey, well, thank you for having me. Glad to be here. The family is good, so I'm really happy we got that going for ourselves. And yeah, it's just a challenge to stay positive lately in these, challenging and unknown times where there's so many uncertain variables. But other than that, we're okay, and looking forward to this big event we got coming up. So yeah.
Let's get right into that because I see a big logo behind you, and that's what we're talking about. Is something that I think is so cool, and I'm thrilled. I know a lot of people will be thrilled that you have this now. What exactly is this logo, and what is the big event that is going to be happening that a lot of folks can be part of?
Yes. Okay. So I'm the owner and artistic director of Jade's Hip Hop Academy. It's a dance studio based in Brampton, teaching youth solely hip hop and street dance. So we teach popping, locking, breaking, hip hop, house, crump, whacking, and light feet. And we began in 2006, and we've just recently expanded into a brand new facility, which was a long time coming because we outgrew our old space a long time ago. And we actually moved during the pandemic. I signed the lease for our new building like a week before the lockdown. Yay, not knowing how crazy it was. So we expanded during a pandemic, and then we were never able to celebrate our new space. We have finally, that the province is in stage three, we've got our grand opening. So we are so crazy excited, and yeah, just trying to get all the pieces together. We've got performances going on. I wanted to really collaborate between dancers and artists of Brampton, where we're based out of, but it's open to the public. We're right beside Highway 410 and Steeles, and we service and have serviced Brampton, Peel, GTA, and the Greater Toronto Area for years now, 15 years, as a matter of fact. It's also our 15th anniversary this year. So yeah, that's what this logo is about, and that's what's going on.
I have never been in a dance studio. I'm old school. I was the guy who watched like my friends, we watched Soul Train, we watched Boogie, we watched, whatever shows that were on that had the dancers on, and we learned it from watching the shows all the time. This, of course, is not that. It's different, though. How do you think the evolution has matured to become this from me watching television?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Soul Train. So Soul Train is actually where we're talking about the history of hip hop and street dance, is where we first saw locking is credited as the first street dance style back in 1970. It was created by a man named Don Campbell. He had his crew called the Campbell Lockers, later known as the Lockers. And in the Soul Train competition, you'll see Don Campbell and Demita Joe and some of what we call the OGs, the originals, the creators, coming down that Soul Train line and dancing. And I'm very privileged to learn from these people and pass that knowledge on to my students. So when I first started, I wasn't completely aware of the breadth and depth of everything, considering our style. I was just so passionate about teaching. I fell in love with teaching and watching my students shine. And there was nothing in Brampton where you could really pursue dance that was affordable, that wasn't crazy expensive, and where you could just do hip hop, no ballet, no other things. And that was kind of the driving force. And yeah, over time, I've spent the time to learn from the OGs, to seek them out. I traveled to New York, I traveled to Vegas, and it's incredible. I get to learn from the same guys that dance with Michael Jackson, that taught Michael Jackson how to pop. You know what I mean? And it's incredible. All the crews that you see, Rocksteady crew and Dynamic Rockers, all that you've seen in the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible that I get to train with these guys and then bring that knowledge back to our students, which definitely sets our studio apart, because a lot of dance studios, they think hip hop is what you see in the music videos, so they emulate a lot of the kind of sensual dancing or the costuming or the twerking, and they think, well, it's from the street, so it must not have any vocabulary or technique. And what we stand for is really teaching people like, no, 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 no. It has technique, it has history. We don't necessarily have a syllabus and it's not all written down like ballet and jazz and tap is. We're working on it. We're getting
Mm-hmm.
there. But yeah, that's what we serve to do, is to pass on that legacy of the OGs, and make sure the kids keep passing it on to the next generation.
Now, I was a lockers guy growing up, okay? And what you just said is very true, but there was never, how do I put this? You could have guys come together, guys or gals come together back in the day. Nobody planned on whatever. Somebody started doing something, somebody watched, instantly was able to get in there, and the next thing you knew, you had 5 or 6 people doing a routine, and then of course everybody had their chance to come out and do their thing so they could shine. But I think here's where the difference comes in for what you're doing. You're also teaching safety, because we just watched what we watched and then we did certain things, and of course now being older, I'm feeling it in my knees, I'm feeling it in my back. I think that's another big difference where it comes for you.
Yeah, I've definitely spent the time to look at all the techniques and be like, all right, how can I break this down one safely, like you said, and then also for our age groups, like we start training dancers at 3 years old, and so they explain how to really, pop and contract the muscles. It's challenging, but I've developed a curriculum that really builds and breaks things down, and so by the time they move into from doing it for fun on a recreational level, competing, they really understand what their body is doing. And yeah, we prevent injuries as much as possible.
What does this do for our young folks? What does it do for them personally, spiritually, physically? What does this do for them?
It's incredible. Dance is an amazing artistic outlet. I mean, arts in general is amazing, but I think, hip hop dance provides that element of freedom and freestyle, which you referenced earlier. So we teach the technique, we teach the vocabulary, they have their routines, but then there's this element of like, okay, hip hop dancers, we all know how to freestyle. So you just go in there, you do your thing, and it builds such a community when we have our cypher circles and we're cheering each other on, and people can just be. And over the years, like we operate on the principles of family and respect, as you can see. So really having a space where there's a zero tolerance for bullying. Everyone works together, no matter, if you're a new dancer, you've been here for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And by creating a space that a lot of my dancers have said over the years is like a second home, it's incredible. It's where they can feel comfortable. It's where they can grow as dancers, performers, as people. We share a lot of life technology, a lot of life lessons here. And it builds their confidence more than anything, by learning a dance routine, then executing in front of an audience, it builds their confidence. We watch them shine. And over the years, a lot of parents have come to me and said, hey, the confidence that they gain here, it's going into schools. A lot of the dance that we do, we also tackle world and social issues, for example. So we've done dances about poverty, about homelessness, about climate change, about again, bullying, as we've referenced earlier. And, so we start to see more activism from our youth as well, just taking charge, sharing things on social media that they're passionate about. So dance and what we do here in general is an amazing experience and outlet for our youth.
I think another thing we should also point out too is, and again, I'm not knocking other
Mhm.
dance forms, so I want to make that clear. But when you look at something like ballet, as you just mentioned, of course, body size is a certain way. When it comes for hip hop and what you're talking about, I mean, let's face it. You mentioned about lockers. Anybody who knows anything about lockers knows about Rerun. Rerun was a very heavy person, and he could jump, fly, splits, do anything, and it didn't matter what his size is. This is the same thing that I'm seeing with what you're doing. It doesn't matter what your size is, it's about the love of the dance.
Yes, absolutely. And it's sad. We've had phone calls from parents who want to join our studio, and on the phone they're like, "Oh, is it okay if my son or daughter is a little bit chubby, or if they're, tall?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, of course." But in other, situations or other studios, they've been told, well, they don't have the body type to fit in with their group, so they can no longer participate in competitions and things. And I find that so sad because, as you said, it doesn't matter. It's about the dance and just doing what you love regardless of what you look like. So that's what I'm about. I don't know why the other places do it like that, but yeah.
Well, look, family respect. It says it all right there. So, how does this work for ages? How does it work for, certain days do they come in? How does it all work? So, I've got a child. Is he or she the right age? How does it all work?
Okay. So again, we start our dancers at age 3. We have an adult and top program, so they can come in with their parents, their mom or dad. We also have we stagger it by ages, so about 2 to 3 age groups in a bracket. So we'll go 4 to 5, 6 to 7, 8 to 10, 11, 12, 12 to 16, 13 and over, and so on. So our recreational program trains 1 hour once a week, and they learn their techniques, and they put together a routine for our end of the year recital. So that's what they work towards. And then, yeah, they get to perform in front of family and friends. And then the kids that want to compete, they train an hour and a half or 2 hours a week. And they come in on different days, and then they work towards competition. So we do about 3 to 4 different competitions a year. And then, of course, also our end of the year show. And that's the nice thing about our programs is you can come here and you can grow. You can start somewhere, and if you have the ambition to compete, you can do that. And then also, what makes our studio different is that we have our performance company, and that's actually how you and I met.
Yeah.
Is we were doing we do a lot of community shows. So the dancers that really show us that they love to dance, they want to give back to the community, and of course they learn fast and they're confident and on point. We give them the opportunity to be involved in the community. And so we've been doing that since 2009. So to date, we've done well over 300 shows, and we've been able to prove that young people can do incredible things if you believe in them, because there were definitely some barriers we had to break through.
Mhm.
People being like, oh, you're a young dance company, but oh, and you do hip hop, right? Because they have that hip hop sometimes has that negative connotation still of people associated with music video style dancing. And they're like, do you teach your children how to twerk? I'm like, no, what is that? Come on, you know? So yeah, we've been really privileged to build that performance company aspect as well to take our dancers even to the next level.
Just curious, when you have the parents bring in the kids and the parents are watching, do you ever have the parents kind of go, "Is there any way you can teach me that?"
All the time. And, and from time to time, we'll run adult classes, and, we'll have our sessions here and there, definitely. But yeah, no, all the time. It's in demand. And we do a really fun thing actually at the end of our year recitals. We actually teach the parents of our competitive students like a little snippet of their kids' dance, and then we surprise the kids with the parents doing their dance. So yeah, it's a lot of fun working with the parents for sure.
That sounds amazing. Okay, so where again is your studio? Website, all the fun stuff. Like, how do we get involved? What do we do? What do we?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so www.jadeshiphopacademy.com. You'll find all our class information. There's registration forms that you can download. You'll find our email. You'll find our phone number. On social media, we're at Jade's Hip Hop Acad. We're very active on Instagram and what is it, Twitter and Facebook. And then we've got our YouTube channel. So if you want to see the dance routines that we've done, like I said, we've got our performance company, so you see them performing for the Argos and the Raptors 905 and the Toronto Raptors and TIFF and theater shows. And then we've got our competitive routines up on there as well, and you can see all our different ages. So YouTube is a great platform. Again, type in Jade's Hip Hop Academy, you'll find us there. And yeah, that's how you would get in touch and register for the season. Our season is starting September 13th. We're open for in-person classes. And so that's very important to note. The government has had some restrictions on us. So we're looking forward to welcoming people back in person. We still have a virtual option for people who want that. Or let's say you live too far away from the studio and you want to train with us, you can do so virtually now.
Fantastic. Jade, congratulations on this. Thank you for giving back in such a beautiful way to the community. Thank you for keeping something alive that I grew up on. And it's great to see that these young folks are going to be able to pass that tradition on. And the way they do it is because of you and your studio. Thank you so much for this interview.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.